Unfortunately, our business cannot reach everyone in the world. Today's video will be all about how to understand who your customers are and how to find them. This can often be the most challenging part of finding product market fit, is because so many business owners do not know enough about who their customers are, what they like and dislike, and what their problems are. When we launch a new product or service into a market, we might be overwhelmed by how many potential customers we could sell to. But all potential customers are not created equal. It's actually not possible to sell to everyone because there are too many different types of people and needs and tastes and problems that they all have. If we focus on multiple groups of people or try to solve multiple problems at once, we end up solving a big group of people's problems really poorly instead of a small group of people's problems really well. So what we need to do is we need to break all of our different potential customers into groups or slices called segments. Like its name implies, the process is called segmentation. Great customer segments are usually the way people within those segments would describe as themselves to their friends or to their family, or on their LinkedIn profiles or their Twitter profiles. So for example, females aged 18 to 25 isn't a great segment because no one really sees themselves that way. People see themselves as mothers or fathers, people see themselves as vegans, professors, married couples, university graduates, all those sorts of things. And if you're a B2B model, business to business, it's a similar concept. It's just that, instead of listing your segment as organic businesses or something like that, you need to keep in mind that no one is an organic business. There are roles or there are people within those organic businesses, however. Now, Roy Morgan Research has done us a huge solid in how to crack at segmenting the different types of food eaters in Australia, which is a great start, at least, to all of this segmentation. So first of all, we have the Just Feed Me segment. It's 23% of Australians. They're not remotely interested in cooking. They just simply want to eat what they're given. And next we have the House Proud. They're 22%. They're happiest when their pantry is well stocked and their meal is home cooked. House Proud individuals love cooking and they really love grocery shopping as well. Then we have the Zappets, which make up 17% of Australians. Their cooking is an unnecessarily time-consuming chore. They'd rather save themselves the hassle with easy-to-prepare food or takeaway. Then we have old-fashioned cooks, making up 12%. The same shopping list every week. They have traditional home-cooked meals and strong brand loyalty that characterizes this segment's attitude to food. We have the take-it-aways, which are people asking, why cook when you can order? Takeaway is this segment's preference. As long as it tastes good, they're pretty happy. And then we have the trendsetters. Now these people, they really like new foods, new flavors, new experiences, which excite them, whether they're cooking up a storm or they're dining out with friends. Finally, we have the entertainers, making up 8%. This segment really loves the social side of food, whether they're cooking or not. They're really good entertainers at home or eating out. Now, important rule in segmentation is that we need to get specific, because we can't paint a group of people under the same brush and expect them all to have the same problems as one another. For example, the House Proud segment includes so many different walks of life. They include vegans and vegetarians and meatitarians and pescatarians and all those atarians, mothers, university grads, university chefs, all those sorts of things. So we need to stay specific and we need to get specific. So now we have a better understanding of how to segment our market. I encourage you guys to head over to Canvas and to complete our customer brainstorming worksheet. Now, if you do that worksheet and you feel like your solution could be applied to so many different types of people still, like mothers and fathers, children, retirees, graduates, beekeepers, Syrian refugees, I would suggest that you narrow your scope, and you do probably have to pick at least one segment for the moment by asking yourself a couple of questions, and I'm happy to help you out with this, but things that you're personally passionate about, segments that you're personally passionate about, or segments that you're a part of yourself, because those are the ones that you're uniquely suited to go and solve, and you're more likely to speak their language. The reason that we do have to narrow our scope is because customers will buy from us based on something called the adoption behavior curve. I'm not sure if you've ever seen this curve before, but according to the curve, when we release a product into a market, our early adopters are the very first customers of our product that will not only buy from us and like our products, but they will love us and they will want to be a part of what we're a part of. They'll be followed by the early majority, the late majority, and then the laggards. Most of us will find product market fit and also business success when we have the early majority buying from us, which could include a bunch of different segments. But before we have them buying from us, we have to have one thing. We need to have our early adopters. And if we can't find our early adopters who get excited about our business, besides our friends and family, then it's very unlikely that we'll achieve business success. And it's really helpful to assess then who our early adopters are if we're solving a problem that customers have in the food world. Remember from last week, customers don't buy products, customers buy solutions to problems. So for example, if say I have this idea, right, about starting a vegan butchery in Sydney, the segment I'm addressing would be vegans. And the problem that I'm trying to solve is that vegans are, not able to find a good quality meat substitute in Sydney. Now, a laggard in this case is someone who still falls into the segment of being a vegan, but does not have the problem that we're trying to solve. Maybe they're the vegans who, not interested in meat at all, and they don't really want anything to do with it. They just want to eat their carrots or something like that. These are the very last people who would be looking to buy our product. Differently, our late majority and our early majority have this problem, but they don't really care too much about the problem that we have, or they're not really actively seeking a solution to solve this problem. Perhaps they're buying meat substitutes already from Woolies or Coles, and they don't really like them because they don't taste great, they're not healthy, and they know this, but they don't really care enough, or they don't consider it a big enough deal, and so they don't go out and actively look for a solution. And by contrast, our early adopter is someone who has the problem, they care deeply about our idea, and they are actively seeking a solution to solving the problem that we are trying to solve ourselves. So these are the people that you want to target because they're so hungry to find a solution, literally, that they're already trying to find one. They will take a risk on your idea or your new startup because they are so keen to find a solution. The reason these guys are so important is that because you're solving the problems that they have, they will get so excited about it that they will go and tell other people, particularly your early majority, who need to be educated about the problem in the first place. And because you don't need to educate them yourself and you got someone else doing it for you, the education will come from your early adopters. So once you have them, you have your early majority. And this ultimately helps speed up our process of knowing if we have product market fit or not. So the question becomes, how do we find our early adopters? Now, the secret to finding our early adopters is understanding that they are the people who are already actively seeking a solution to the problem that we're trying to solve, whether it's vegan small goods or food waste or sweet tooth people, or people who are trying to find a healthy Asian market stall in Sydney. So the best place to start is when we're looking to find our early adopters by asking ourselves two questions. The first question would be, where would someone who is seeking to solve this problem right now look for those solutions? So let's bring the problem back up that we're trying to solve. We have to ask ourselves, what are the behaviors of someone who is actively seeking a solution to that problem right now? So for example, if someone thought it was a pain to find good quality meat, vegan substitutes in Sydney, where would they look for a solution right now? Some solutions that we might come up with is that maybe they're already making recipes themselves at home. They're trying to cook and they're experimenting or tinkering with different ideas at home, and maybe while they're making the recipes, they might be scouring the internet and looking for different recipes on vegan Facebook groups or on Reddit community pages. Or maybe they've already found a vegan butchery in other states and they're trying to import them into Sydney. Or finally, maybe they get on with their normal week and they travel down to Wollongong on a Saturday to purchase from a market stall that is actually solving their problem. So this list of behaviors is great in figuring out where our customers might be in terms of presence, but we still are not quite there yet because we can't see everyone who is searching for vegan recipes online. Or just because someone goes down to Wollongong to a market stall doesn't exactly mean that they have the problem that we're trying to solve. They might just really like Wollongong vegan markets, or they might be going down there for just completely different reasons, and they just hate Sydney stalls or something like that. It's crucial that we actually get to talk to these people that are demonstrating these types of behaviors to see what problems they're actually trying to solve. It could be that they've already found a business in Sydney that's already solved the problem and they're not even trying to solve the problem anymore at all. Their solutions have been found. So that leads us to answer our second question, which is how do you actually talk, or how do you actually find the people to talk to? How do you have a conversation with them? For this, we need to develop a list of externally observable behaviors that we can take one step further from the list of solution-seeking behaviors. So we're actually trying to turn this into a bunch of action steps where an observer like you and I can actually see where people are trying to solve the problem. Then we've finally gotten somewhere. So some examples in the vegan idea might be, we go out and reach out to people who have left negative reviews on, vegan recipe websites or like taste.com. If someone's leaving negative feedback on these websites, then chances are they're still trying to find a solution for a meat substitute. Again, if we've found someone who's complaining like their problems away on Twitter or hashtagging their problems on Instagram, chances are they're definitely still looking for a solution because they're complaining about it. Or what about someone who's posted on a Sydney vegan Facebook group asking people for meat-free recipes? And that means we've actually found someone who self-identifies as someone who is displaying solution-seeking behaviors. Or we could go and hang out at the Sydney vegan markets near the closest and most appropriate similar shop available, and we can just talk to people who might be interested in this or who've found a solution themselves. So you can start to see how this list of externally observable behaviors can help us find our early adopters, because the answer is written within each of those behaviors. I mean, we can find them on taste.com, we can find them hashtagging on Twitter or Instagram, we can find them on Facebook groups, we can find them at the vegan markets. So now what we can do is we can continue to brainstorm all these ideas on a worksheet that I've put together on Canvas about where your adopters, your early adopters might be and where they hang out, and what behaviors they might be displaying to find a product or a business like yours. And this will help you uncover whether the world is ready for your idea as well. So now we know how to find your early adopters. Let's go and learn how to talk to them.